Hello, welcome to this month's issue of the Hippocratic Diaries video lesson, and today we're following up to our grocery shopping episode, and we're just going to show you what a healthy kitchen looks like. And so what I'm doing here is I'm in what we'd call your typical North American kitchen. So ideally you could probably walk into any home and find some of these items there. Again, everybody's lifestyle varies slightly, but most of us in North America eat the same way, regardless of how healthy or unhealthy we think we are. So I'm just going to show you kind of some of the foods you might have in your kitchen that you would probably want to get rid of or avoid. And then I'm going to show you some of the foods that you might have that you want to focus on in your kitchen, or maybe if you don't have them in your kitchen, you want to try and include them. So kind of do a good and a bad here. And yeah, and this isn't meant to be judgmental or condemning or anything. It's just you want to slowly shift your focus towards the better things, and you also want to just make small daily changes to include better options, and just kind of expand your horizons as to what's available out there for food. So I'll start with the bad side first, and then we'll show the good side, and just see what kind of compares to your own home and what changes you can make. So first of all, I'm going to start with probably what's in everybody's kitchen, breakfast cereals. And the reason why they're on the bad side is because even if they have whole grains in them, or even if they appear healthy, even if they're all organic or all gluten-free, the point is breakfast cereals, the way they're designed, it's basically all sugar all the time. I've yet to encounter a really healthy breakfast cereal out there, and so because of that, breakfast cereals tend to be a recipe for weight gain. They're basically developed, in the Victorian age and late 1800s, early 1900s, when being overweight was still in vogue, and while they had healthy intentions in terms of being a fast, cheap source of food, they were actually recommended by weight gain doctors to help people gain weight who were underweight. And so if breakfast cereals are a regular part of your lifestyle and you have extra weight that you want to lose, then I would get rid of those breakfast cereals, and I think you'll find a huge change in your body composition pretty quickly. The only way you can really enjoy a breakfast cereal is to get your own grains and your own seeds and mix them up yourself and create your own cereal that way. But any commercially available breakfast cereal, regardless of what the label says, there's no healthy components in it, so definitely want to do away with those. The other thing is, most homes have a wide assortment of coffee and tea in them. Okay, instant coffee, again, something you want to avoid. A lot of processing there, and it's basically going to be toxic too in the long run. Also, your average commercially available coffee is going to be loaded with pesticides. So coffee is one thing you definitely want to focus on buying organic for, just because of the heavy pesticide spraying. And I think you'll feel better for that, and you also get a better tasting product that way too. Moving on, we got some cooking oils and sprays there. Okay, anything canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, any of those types of things, okay, they're all going to be highly toxic to you in the long run. They're very high in omega-6s, which can be very inflammatory if they're out of proportion to your omega-3 intake, and they degrade very easily, and again, just not oils that we're meant to consume a lot of. So you definitely want to focus on the olive oils, and then also the coconut oils. Alright, those are the ones that are much more stable, very high in omega-3s, which are going to be more beneficial for you, and it's so versatile. Okay, not only is it cooking oil, but great for salad dressing, is great for even personal care products. Coconut oil is absolutely amazing for your skin and your hair and your teeth and your dental health, so definitely want to use more of those as opposed to these oils. Next thing is, most families will use margarine, partly because of the cost. It is cheaper on average than butter, but also we've been severely misled in terms of our fats. Alright, there's especially if it's grass-fed or organic butter, you have nothing to worry about. It's going to be a very healthy product and something that you can consume a lot of without too much worry. But all the margarines and stuff like that, again, we're using vegetable oils and a lot of toxic oils in there. Alright, so even though it's unsaturated fat, the point is that they're just not oils that we should be consuming in the first place. Again, very high in omega-6s and very problematic. Even if you have a margarine that is high in omega-3s, it's still not going to be enough to offset all the toxic oils in there. Alright, so definitely choose butter over margarine all the time, and if you can, definitely go for the organic grass-fed butters. And even a lot of margarines are, for example, Becel is made by Unilever, and so you got a company that's making personal care products like underarm deodorant, and at the same time they're making food products like margarine, and so you're kind of going to ask yourself, you know, how good is that product going to be for you? Next thing, we're going to get into some of our spreads. Peanut butter, again, common one that's in almost every home. If it's an organic peanut butter, then you're definitely on the right track that way, but most commercially available peanut butters are loaded with sugar, salt, and again, all sorts of unhealthy oils that are added in there. So quite a bomb for your body, and especially if fat loss is an issue for you, things like peanut butter are going to pull you in the wrong direction. But if you have a healthy organic peanut butter, typically you're only going to see 2 ingredients on the label, and that's going to be a lot more beneficial for you. Now we're going to go into some of our soups and canned goods. And again, these should be a last resort for you if you use them at all. Definitely want to get into the habit of making soups from scratch. Okay, buying nice organic broths or making your own broths, and then adding in your own fresh vegetables and fresh meats and fresh lentils, that kind of stuff. Okay, any canned good at all, no matter how low sodium it is still going to have a lot of sodium in it. And again, the nutrient value of the vegetables in any of the cans is going to be dramatically lower than using fresh vegetables or even frozen vegetables. So canned goods should always be last resort, if anything at all. And again, definitely get in the habit of making your own soups. Not only will the flavor be better, but you can control what's going in there and better nutritional value. Salad dressings. Again, usually commercially available salad dressings can have a lot of cheap oils in them and a lot of additives that you might not even think about. So definitely, again, these things will be a high source of sugar and whatnot. So if possible, make your own salad dressings using healthy oils, healthy vinegars. And if you do happen to buy salad dressings, then you at least want to buy something that's, again, organic and if possible gluten-free, and then that will ensure that you're not getting in all sorts of harmful ingredients that you're not aware of. Lastly, typical snack foods found in your home, chips, stuff like that. And again, if people like to think that diet success is all about willpower, but the truth is, no matter how good your willpower is, if you have bad food in your home, it's only a matter of time before you eat it. So, like I alluded to in the article that accompanies this video, best not to have any of this junk food in your home in the first place. And if you do absolutely want it, if you have a bad craving, then it's best to make the trip to the grocery store just for that one thing, as opposed to having that food on standby and you're just going to eat it by default. So, if you have cravings, then make the effort, even walk to the grocery store or something like that. Then at least you're getting some exercise on the way to your indulgence, and it's not going to be quite so harmful to you, and that walk to the store will be a bit of a deterrent from impulse eating. So that kind of covers the unhealthy side. We'll move on to the healthy side now. Biggest thing with the healthy eating, so if we're going to work hard at making unhealthy food unavailable to us, as in not even having it in our house, then the contrast to that would be making healthy food extremely available to us and having it out in the open. So it definitely never hurts to have a fruit bowl or fresh cut vegetables handy all the time. Nuts and seeds, have those handy out in dishes around your house. Okay, so if you're going to be snacking, if you're going to be munching on the go, the healthier options that are available to you are definitely going to be a benefit. So yeah, definitely fresh produce, already prepared out in front of you. It's going to be a big time saver and a way to get some good snacks. Okay, so instead of chips and stuff, you might want to focus on stuff like nuts and seeds. That's definitely going to be a benefit to you. And then these Mary's Organic Crackers, one of the few brands of crackers out there that are actually going to be good for you, actually usable nutrition for your body. So if you are going to have that kind of stuff around, then at least get the cleanest you can find out there. Going on to eggs, and again, contrary to what you've probably heard, there's nothing bad about eggs at all, and even eating whole eggs, it's not harmful at all. So definitely one of those foods you can go wild on. Even better to find free-range organic eggs, but even conventional eggs, it's pretty hard to go wrong with them. So great source of protein, great source of healthy fat, and such a satisfying meal option at any time of the day. Then you want to have your meats. Again, avoid deli meats just because of all the additives in there, and again, they're going to be higher in the bad fats, that kind of thing. So definitely want all your meat to be fresh, preferably locally bought, and again, if you can afford it, you want it to be naturally raised organic meat. Sweeteners, again, we want to try and avoid any artificial sweeteners like Splenda and that kind of thing. So if you are needing to sweeten any foods at all, honey, especially unpasteurized honey, is a great choice because it's the sugar that your body can recognize and use well. And not to mention, really high quality honeys will also have a lot of added nutrition in there. And stevia, of course, is being the other great option for sweetening foods in your home. Already talked about the coconut oil and olive oil, but again, those are the two oils that you want to have the most of in your home, just because they're so good. And when we get into vinegars too, if you're making recipes, things like rice vinegar, red wine vinegar, balsamic vinegar, or even apple cider vinegar. Those are the vinegars, again, they actually have benefit to us. They're healthy for us to consume. So if there's any call for vinegar in your home, use those as opposed to the typical white vinegar, which again really does nothing for you. Things like a really high quality protein powder are fantastic to have in your home. What this does for you basically is provides you with an instant meal that you can use to tie you over until you're going to eat a real meal. So not a replacement for your normal diet at all. You definitely don't want to depend on these, but it's a great tie-over option, great healthy snack, and you combine it with a blender with some fruits and vegetables, and you got yourself a great nutritious smoothie that's fast and easy. And again, your teas, something like a good green tea should be a staple in any home. Nice little pick-me-up, and again, it's a healthier option than most coffees or highly caffeinated energy drinks. Better if it's a loose leaf tea, and even better if it's organic, but whatever you can find, whatever works for you. So now some of the other elements of a healthy kitchen that you want. Again, you want your food to be accessible. Right? If you have to spend a lot of excess time on prep, or a lot of excess time pulling stuff out of the back corners of the cupboard, what are the chances of you eating it? So make sure that you do maybe at the beginning of every week you spend an hour or two doing some food prep, and that will save you a lot of time throughout the week. And also keeping, again, healthy stuff accessible, like having it right out on the counter where you can grab it in a second. And again, conversely, if you do have unhealthy stuff in your home at all, you want to make it as inaccessible and inconvenient as possible, so that way your likelihood of going for it is less. Then we get into some utensils and appliances. So things like having a really good blender, really good food processor handy. That really saves a lot of time, and it gives you a lot of great fast meal options. Definitely want to focus, if you are cooking your food, resort to stovetop cooking and baking as opposed to things like using the microwave. Okay, if if you are using the microwave, you're basically destroying any nutritional value in the food at all, and if anything else, you're actually altering the food in such a way that it becomes harmful to consume. So definitely go for fresh as much as possible, and again, if you are cooking, do the lower heat, slow cook methods as opposed to these fast cooking methods. As far as utensils, definitely a good knife set always helps, and you actually only probably need 2 or 3 knives in your entire kitchen. Okay, if you get some really high quality knives, only 2 or 3 is all you'll ever need, and then anything else above that is excess. So you want to avoid stocking up your kitchen with all these excess utensils that are only good for 1 or 2 purposes. You want to make sure that all your utensils serve more than one purpose, and then that way you got a lot of bang for your buck that way. So this basically summarizes what a healthy kitchen should look like. Things I didn't quite include: breads. Again, our society is way over consuming grains, so definitely want to limit your bread intake, and if you are going to have breads in your house, then you want them to be organic and sprouted grains. Dairy too, I didn't focus a lot on dairy, but with the dairy you want to make sure that it's preferably grass-fed organic dairy, and avoid the conventional dairy because it's going to be so mucus forming for your body and a lot of harmful pathogens in there. So yeah, again, this summarizes the typical kitchen and what you should have, what you shouldn't have. So hopefully you can alter your kitchen to meet these standards, and feel free to get in touch with me for lists of things that you should and shouldn't have in your kitchen, and I'd be happy to provide that with you. So until next time, this is Grant for the Hippocratic Diaries, and we'll see you next month.